freak. Terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
Every punk in this town is scared stiff.
Hey, who is this guy?
What are they seeing up there?
Oh, my God.
Wouldn't hit a guy with glasses on, would you?
I don't know who you think you are.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press?
The making of Batman was a marathon. It was not a sprint. It was a marathon where there were constant speed bumps, and any moment, failure faced you, whether it was developing the script, whether it was finding the filmmaker, whether it was casting the picture, whether it was the budget of the film, whether it was just the anxiety and fear of this unique project that was dark. It haunted the project from the very beginning.
Batman created just a universe that I could really believe in. And I always regretted that as my favorite character in comics, it had not ever quite been portrayed the way I thought that Bob Kane and company really intended it to be. And I really wanted to see that creature of the night emerge and let the world at large see that there is more to Batman than pow, zap, and wham. And for about 20 years, whenever anyone mentioned the word Batman or wrote about it in print, pow, zap, and wham were always attached to the name. I wanted to detach it and get back to the heart of the character.
I think that Batman is a seminal movie of the last quarter century because it broke all the rules. It redefined what a tentpole movie should be. It dealt with the kind of effects and the kind of artistic choices, casting choices that had not been done before, very gutsy. Tim was on the forefront of a generation of new filmmakers, and even the way we marketed the movie. All parts of a whole that, you know, are never easy to come to, because when it's uncharted waters, it's lonely out there a little bit.
In the early 1970s at Indiana, they had an experimental curriculum department at the College of Arts and Sciences. And the deal was this: if you had a course that was non-traditional that you wanted to teach at the university and could then appear before a panel of deans and professors and convince them that your course was worthy of academic credit, you could wind up teaching a very unique course to college students for credit. This, to me, was a golden opportunity. I decided I was going to teach the world's first college-accredited course on comic books. The dean, with his eyeglasses sitting right at the end of his nose, looking down at me over them, said, "So you're the fellow who wants to teach a course on funny books at my university? Mr. Uslan, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I used to read comic books all the time. Superman was my favorite when I was a kid. But comic books are cheap entertainment. They're junk. You can't convince me that they're modern-day folklore or contemporary mythology." And I looked at him and I said, "Are you familiar with the story of Moses?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Could you summarize for me the story of Moses?" He then said, "All right, Hebrew couple had a son, firstborn. The firstborn were being killed, so they put their infant son in a little wicker basket and sent him down the River Nile. And he was later discovered by an Egyptian family who raised him as their own. And then he grew up, he became this great hero to his people." I said, "That's great. You said you read Superman comics?" He said, "Yeah, I used to read them all the time." I said, "Do you remember the origin of Superman?" He said, "Sure. Planet Krypton was about to explode. And a scientist and his wife take their infant son and put him in a little rocket ship and send him to the planet Earth, where he's discovered by the Kents, who raise him as their own." And he stopped, and he looked at me, and he said, "Your course is accredited." Well, my life changed rather quickly, because one day, shortly thereafter, I get a call, and it's from Stan Lee.
I thought that was so great. At last, somebody was recognizing comics as a valid form of communication and entertainment. There are few colleges now that don't have popular culture courses, and so many of them concentrate a great deal on comic books, movies, television, you know, the usual. But comic books are now lumped in with the others, so I think that's terrific.
I got a call from Saul Harrison, who was the vice president of DC Comics in New York, and he said, everywhere we look, we're reading about your comic book course, and this is a great thing for the whole industry. We would like you to work with us. We'd like to fly you into New York and talk to you about ways we might be able to work together. And that was the moment I said, my next dream in life, I want to produce a definitive, dark, serious version of Batman as a movie, the way Bob Kane and company really originally intended him back in 1939, as a creature of the night, someone who stalks criminals from the shadows. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I set my sights on right at that moment.